Hello, this is Rick Salty with Salty Breeze Cruise Planners with this week's segment of Beyond Your Front Door. And today, I feel very honored to have with me the Business Development Manager from Globus family of brands, Denise Fraind.
Hi.
Yes.
Hi,
Good
thank you for having me. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. And
Yeah, anytime.
today, I wanted to start today with talking about the company that you work for, a company called Avalon, which not everybody may not have heard of. So who is Avalon?
So Avalon is a part of the Globus family of brands, and the Globus family of brands has been around since 1928. And the way Avalon first got started is we started to see that river cruising, it was becoming popular, in maybe the late 90s, early like 2000, 2001. So we decided, let's start selling river cruising and river cruises. So we started selling into somebody else's inventory and selling out so fast. And they said, oh, maybe we should start building our own ships. So that's how Avalon first got started. So Avalon is a part of the Globus family of brands. We have 16 ships in Europe. We also have some that travel on the Mekong. And so it's pretty exciting. At first, we probably need to promote Avalon with Globus so everybody knows who we are and we're part of the Globus family of brands. And now Avalon is standing on its own, has its own brochure, own promotions, and it's exciting.
And how long have you worked for Avalon?
Oh, so I've been with Globus it'll be 21 years in October.
Oh, wow.
Time flies, right?
Yeah, time really flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. So, this whole time I've just been selling tours, and then we came out with Avalon, and, it's nice. Now we have a whole new brand to sell. So Avalon's been out for about 15 years now. So it's exciting to be able to sell tours and river cruises.
Sure, and congratulations on being 21 years. That speaks a lot about the brand itself. And so how long have you been selling Avalon?
So since Avalon first got started, so Avalon's been out around 15 years. So been selling both companies all this time. So it's exciting.
And what drew you to Avalon or Globus or to travel in general in the first place?
Yeah, so I graduated from college looking for a job, and one of my friends said, "Hey, Amtrak is hiring." So I said, "All right, I'll start working there." So I was working in Philadelphia, and I was working in reservations with Amtrak, and then I was promoted to inside sales in downtown Philadelphia, working at 30th Street Station.
Oh, wow.
I was young, I was single, so I was always signing up for all the fun trips. So we were doing all these trips. I was just telling one of my friends about a trip that I did on Amtrak. It was from Chicago to Galena, and it was for a fall festival. And Amtrak was pulling a private car owned by an actor. And, we were eating dinner in the private car with the original China. And I got to go on some pretty cool trips by train, and it just got me hooked on travel. And then unfortunately, Amtrak, has, reorganizations all the time. So then I was lucky enough to get this job 21 years or almost 21 years ago. So Amtrak really got me hooked on travel, and it is an addiction. I know we have people that retire and they're sorry they retired, because I think it's we need to go to classes to get travel out of our system, right? But you can't, it's an addiction.
That is so true. And so thanks for sharing that story with us, because we like to share with people that travel really leaves you with some great experiences.
Yes.
In that private car that was owned by an actor, and having that dining experience, that's a memory you have for the rest of your life.
It really is. And it's just, even with, being with Globus all these years, I mean, I've been to so many places, and you have people that ask you, well, what's your favorite place? And, I loved them all. but I always go back to the time I went to Yellowstone, and that just absolutely floored me. But, every place is its own experience, and with a bunch of friends a lot of the times, and we just have some great memories.
Oh, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
you've sailed on a lot of Avalon cruises. They go to a lot of places. Do you have a favorite destination or favorite Avalon cruise you've been on?
Yeah, my favorite, so I've been on just about all of them. So I did Normandy, I did Burgundy and Provence, these are all in France. Danube, I did the Rhine. Tulip time, I did a couple times. One that was fantastic was the Christmas markets. Um, I would say that's right up there. I was a little concerned because, Rick, we live in Florida, and even though I moved from Pennsylvania, I always did not like the cold weather. So I was a little concerned about Christmas markets, and I lucked out. It was in the 60s. So some people may not like that because they want the snow and the cold, but the Christmas lights and the Christmas markets were beautiful. But my most favorite was Normandy. I didn't know what to expect on that cruise. It really wasn't on my list. But between the art and the history and just the history of World War II, I would do that one again in a heartbeat. A lot of places you're like, okay, I went, I don't need to go back because I wanted to see some other new places. But that cruise just was unbelievable. And I'm sure I've missed a few things. So I would like to go back and see that. It was it's a shorter cruise, but it was just absolutely amazing with all the history.
Sure. And I know that Normandy is on a lot of people's bucket list, including mine,
Right.
partially because of history that predates us. So people want to go and see where their grandfather or their great grandfather was involved
Right.
in such a worldwide event. So I know that there are people that trek there of all ages because they want to see it.
Yeah. I think, it was one of those trips that, like I said, it wasn't on my list. And then I got there and you're like, you think you know about World War II, unless you're a huge history buff and you know the ins and outs. But, just to have a local guide, I just remember we were nearing the landing beaches. Now, just imagine you're on the other side and you're one of the German forces and you're just, hanging out on the beach. And all of a sudden the sky's black and we're coming up to the beach. And she said, just imagine you're on this side and the ships are coming in, the planes are coming in. And it's just there and having these local guides that, some of them, their family experienced it or, they live there. So they live and breathe this and they just bring everything into perspective and just the art, about Van Gogh and Monet and then the history of Joan of Arc. I mean, it's just, there's so much in just that 1 week cruise. It was unbelievable, unbelievable.
And so speaking of Avalon itself, what is something that somebody would be very surprised to find out about Avalon when they went to do their first cruise?
The thing about Avalon is that now we have so many choices in the excursions. I was just on this past fall, and a lot of people were just like, I didn't know that there were so many choices that were included in the price. Some companies, some river cruise companies, what they do is they'll maybe just have one walking tour. But Avalon will have biking, hiking, canoeing. That would be the active part of it. Or you can do like painting like Van Gogh, or they have concentration camps. Like one day there were all these choices and one was going to a concentration camp, or you could choose to go drink beer that's made by the Trappist monks at a monastery. So look at those choices. So you had some couples where the wife was like, you know what, I want to go do, I want to do go to the concentration camp. And then the husband's like, forget it, I'm going to go taste some beer. So, but you have all these choices that are all included and just the whole active side of it, we didn't have that up until a few years ago. We have 12 bikes on board, but we have all these bike trips that you don't have to be a crazy cyclist to do it. And unbelievable. You bike like the locals and you go on the trails along the river, and absolutely gorgeous. It's funny, like one of my experiences was I was on the Danube and I signed up. I knew I was signing up previously for this 12-mile bike ride. My husband's mom is a cyclist, or was a cyclist. She's 86 now. So she gave me her bicycle shorts. And she said, this is how I got hooked on cycling. It was the Danube along the river. And we just went on the most beautiful bike ride. So there's a lot of different choices. And river cruising is such a great way to travel. You know, if you like to take big ship cruising, not everybody likes river cruising just because, you know, we don't have gambling on board. We don't have the big shows, but it's so intimate. The ship pulls up right to the dock. You get off. The towns are there. The scenery is gorgeous on both sides. It's such a great way to cruise. I love it. And I'm a tour person because I've been with Globus for so long. And it's just like taking a land tour, but you're not packing and unpacking like a tour. It's just a wonderful way to cruise.
Sure. And would you have any advice for a first-time cruiser or somebody that's contemplating going on their first cruise?
Yeah, I would definitely say, you know, the most popular one with us is the Rhine. We kind of call that like the Disney of river cruises because of all the castles and all the history. And as you're cruising, there's this one little section on the Rhine called the Rhine Gorge. And literally there's a castle on the left, there's a castle on the right. That's a good one. Another one is the Danube, where you're doing, you know, Prague, Vienna, Budapest. So that's a good one too. So any one of those would be great. They say for a first timer, don't do the cruise it's called the Balkan cruise. It goes to Bucharest. That's more, it's a lot of history, but it's not scenic. Just because it's more industrial. It was, you know, really communist for a long time. So it's really not built up with communities along the river. But the history is fantastic. That's one of the ones I haven't been on yet. And that's the one I really want to do. But they say, save that after you've been on, you know, 4 or 5, save that for the last.
Sure. And I'm going to finish up with this final question today. If you were not working and travel today, what do you think you would be doing?
Well, I love animals. You could probably hear my cat banging on the blinds trying to get in right now. I would either say working at Rooms to Go. I love furniture and I love sales and I love just walking around Rooms to Go. Or, you know, probably something with animals, like, you know, kind of like a rescue, something like that. So that's probably what I would be doing right now. I can't imagine not doing travel, right? Like I said, it's an addiction. So I'd probably always have my foot in the water with travel.
Sure. Well, I tend to agree with you. I came from another profession and we always traveled extensively before travel business. But even though I loved my last profession, I've said many, many times, wow, I wish I'd found travel earlier than I did.
Right. I mean, I'm glad I started it early. You know, right out of college, I got hooked on it. So now I've been in the travel industry for what, 27 years? Time flies, right?
Yeah, it sure does. Well, I want to thank you for spending time with us today and being on Your Front Door. And so thank you very much. I want to wish you to have a really good day and the balance of your week, and we'll have you back on again. Thank you so much.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.